After my stepfather shot me in my own home, I staggered into the night, bleeding and trembling, desperately begging someone to help me. You think that cheap soldier suit makes you better than me? Those words, hissed into my face, felt colder than the steel of the revolver pressed against my chest. I was a soldier, 19 years old, home on leave. And suddenly the hell I'd enlisted to escape had dragged me right back in. But I refused to let it win. My uniform, my carefully earned stripes, they were supposed to be my ticket out, my shield against the past. Yet in that sweltering Charleston kitchen, with the stench of cheap bourbon heavy in the air, my stepfather Thomas was trying to claim me back. Your paycheck is my paycheck, he snarled, his eyes glinting with a resentment so deep it felt ancient. My mother, Linda, huddled in the corner, a trembling shadow. Louise, just give it to him, honey. Don't make him mad, she whispered, her voice barely a breath. But I stood tall, my back ramrod straight from months of military training. That money is mine, I told him, my voice firm despite the tremor in my gut. It's for my service. It's for my future. The word future snapped something inside him. His face twisted into a mask of pure, unadulterated fury. You ungrateful little brat, he hissed, his grip tightening on the gun. You think you can defy me in my own house? A deafening explosion ripped through the air. Pain, white-hot and searing, tore through the flesh near my collarbone. Through the haze of gin smoke, I saw Thomas smirking. But he didn't know. Pain is just weakness leaving the body. And I had one thing he didn't: control. For a single, suspended moment, everything stopped. The drone of the cicadas outside, the hum of the refrigerator, the frantic beating of my own heart, all silenced by the sheer violence of that sound. Then the world came rushing back in a tidal wave of agony. It wasn't a dull ache. It was a blinding, electric fire that shot from my shoulder down my arm and up into my neck. My legs gave out from under me, and I staggered backward, my head connecting with the unforgiving linoleum floor with a dull thud that rattled my teeth. The kitchen reeked of cordite and spilled bourbon. Lying on the floor, the sticky, sweet puddle from the bottle Thomas had knocked over earlier was cold against my cheek. My vision swam, but through the thin, acrid cloud of smoke I saw him, Thomas. He wasn't panicked. He wasn't remorseful. He was just satisfied. The smirk I'd seen a moment before was still plastered on his face. It wasn't the grin of a victor, but the cruel, detached amusement of someone watching an insect struggle in a spider's web. He was savoring my pain, luxuriating in the absolute power he held in that moment. It was then that my mother Linda finally screamed. But the sound that tore from her throat wasn't for me. It was a shriek of horrified disbelief, aimed squarely at him. My God, Thomas, she cried, her hands flying to her mouth. You shot a hole in the wall. The wall? Not her daughter, bleeding on the kitchen floor. The freshly painted drywall behind me. In that instant, the physical pain in my shoulder was eclipsed by something far, far worse. An icy, profound numbness settled deep in my soul. The betrayal was so complete, so absolute, it felt like a second wound, deeper and more lethal than the first. My mother's first thought was for her property. My existence, my life, was secondary to a piece of plasterboard. And as if to hammer the point home, Thomas let out a disgusted sigh. He lowered the gun, not with the shock of a man who just made a terrible mistake, but with the annoyance of someone whose evening had been inconvenienced. He glanced down at me, his eyes cold and dismissive, and muttered just loud enough for me to hear over the ringing in my ears. See, you always got to make things difficult. That was it. That was the moment everything changed. The shock receded, and the hot, searing pain in my body was replaced by an icy rage that clarified my mind with chilling precision. A single thought cut through the chaos. I'm not going to die here. The bullet had torn through flesh, but it hadn't hit anything vital. I wasn't dying on the sticky, bourbon-soaked floor. And if I wasn't going to die, I had to fight.